Welcome back to another episode of Fenway Finale, live on YouTube and X. The Red Sox have won 9 straight games heading into the All-Star break and have completely flipped the script on the 2026 season. Tonight, we'll review the first half of the season, preview what's ahead in the second half. We'll also discuss our trade deadline predictions and break down the latest Red Sox trade rumors. Tonight, I'm joined by both Will and James. How are you guys doing?
Well, clearly you're not you when you're hungry, so eat a Snickers. After the National Series, a lot of us, a lot of Red Sox fans, myself included, I said this team belongs in Cancun, put up the beach background, and boy, did they shut me up. They have not lost a game since I said they belong in Cancun, so I'm going to go ahead and eat a Snickers right now. Clearly you're not you when you're hungry. And the Red Sox, just like that, they went from having the worst record in the American League when I said that to being half game out of a playoff spot going into the second half of the season. It was impossible then. I'm not sure how they did it, but good on them, and cheers to Snickers.
Enjoy that, James. Yeah, I was going to say, my daughter's a week old, and she has yet to see the Red Sox lose in her lifetime.
Shout out, Will. Shout out, Will. Congratulations.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. I got to say, too, if becoming a dad means the Sox go on a 9-game winning streak, I'll become a dad tomorrow. Like again, all over again. Until we made the playoffs. Let's go. But honestly, it was a great watch from the hospital cot in the delivery room and everything like that. It's been a great team to watch. But yeah, excited for tonight's episode.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to break down, like it's the same thing they've been doing all season. They started pitching well. They finally got a few timely hits, but they finally scored just enough runs to go on this big win streak, and the Red Sox are finally hot. We put up that short or that reel about Cancun, like you were talking about, James, and they've been hot ever since. So I was just looking for anything.
They have not lost a game.
They literally haven't. They've gone 9-0. I was looking for anything to get out there so it didn't look like we're morons just hating on the team.
Look, a lot of people thought that waking up on July 2nd. I know we did that.
Obviously.
First, but, you're not you when you're hungry, and now the Snickers ice cream bar is melting, so I got to eat it fast. But, it's all right.
Yeah, of course. I guess we'll start with, how the Red Sox got to this 9-game win streak, who we're going to give credit to. Do we think this is sustainable into the second half? We'll give our first half review. Who was the best players on the team? Who were the worst? Our biggest disappointments and the biggest surprises. But do you think this is a sustainable 9-game winning streak? Obviously, they're not going to win out, but is this going to be how the Red Sox play going forward? Or are they going to slip back into their own ways? Let's give your guys' thoughts on that. Will, you want to start?
Yeah, it's tough for me to buy into this and be like, oh, this is the team and this is what we're going to see for the rest of the season, as much as I want that to be the case. But the main thing that I've been seeing, yes, pitching has been a constant. It's been amazing. It's been, top of the game of the season. But the big piece has been power, not necessarily with long ball, but timely, clutch, extra base hits, and also smart baseball too, right? Laying down bunts in extra innings to force a run home against the Mets there in the third game. Just good hitting, but also just strong hitting too. Big exit velos, wall balls, doubles, and some homers too. But it shows you how far and how much that is needed in this lineup too, where if you just hit singles all day, you're not going to win shit.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of which, Yoshida has been a big piece of this. And Will, I know you and I talked about this, his presence to what he does in the order is unbelievable. And I think that's been a big tone setter for this entire winning streak. The Red Sox, for the first time since I don't know when, I know Tony Maz said it, I know OB said it on the broadcast, 6 consecutive games with a sacrifice bunt. They're manufacturing runs and playing small ball. They're doing what good teams do. They're coming back late. That game on Sunday was the win of the season. They were left for dead for 8 innings, and then they somehow pulled out 2 runs in the 9th. I mean, Lindor kind of helped them with that, bobbling that ball at short, not turning the game-ending double play for Williams. But, good teams take advantage, and the Red Sox did after that. They could have easily folded, struck out the next 2 batters, and it wouldn't have mattered. They're manufacturing runs. They're finding different ways to do things. They're winning games that good teams win. And I don't think any of us are sitting here necessarily saying, oh, just like that, they flipped the switch and they're a good team. No, they still have a ways to go, but the AL is bad. And what they're doing for the first time all year has seemed sustainable. When they've gone on these mini runs before, nothing was sustainable. But winning 14 out of your last 19, heading into the break, it's not just this 9-game winning streak. It's more of an extended run now, and they are truly playing their best baseball of the year. And they're taking advantage of a weak American League. Don't get any of us wrong, but they've gotten back themselves back into a position where now it's interesting and it's a legit conversation and not just a fantasy that we're kind of hoping for.
Yeah, we all know the stat how the Red Sox were 0-43 after trailing by 2 runs or more. They finally changed that going into the last game of the first half when they beat the Mets
Yeah.
down by 2. Like you said, one of the best games of the season, if
And
not the best win of the season.
let me add
So
one more thing.
go ahead.
Their record, I just want to give context. Their record since June 19th, that first game against Seattle, they are 16-5 in their last 21.
Yeah.
If you really want to go back to it, since Chad Tracy has taken over, I know we're all Cora guys. I don't know if this is even the. I don't think
Hats off to Chad Tracy.
I don't
Hats
think
off to
Chad Tracy's doing like the best job in the world, but he's doing good enough. He's 36-31 as the Red Sox manager. That's 5 games over 500. That's the 4th best record in the American League since that time. That's the Rays. That's the Rays, the Yankees, and the White Sox are the only teams better. So Chad Tracy's done a great job. The Red Sox are hot with him. So,
Yeah.
He's put himself in position to take the manager job next year.
I will 100% say hats off to Tracy. Like I know we do, I talked about it right before, like, this isn't a reflection on like Cora was doing a poor job, but a lot of what Tracy is doing is sustainable and credit and hats off to him. He stepped into a tough situation, and obviously I think the way they were playing the first couple months, no manager could have figured that out. They were all in their own heads, but the way he was able to help flip a switch. Obviously the player's the one going out there and doing it on the field, but he's pushing all the right buttons. Obviously, I think the small ball, manufacturing runs goes back to him. I think guys are confident. They're playing with a sense of, they can go out there and do this. And I think Tracy has a large part to do with this. So hats off to him. And also, it's no surprise that during this run, Anthony Siegler has been on the roster. He is an awesome vibes guy.
Yep.
Hats off to him. I know Section 10, the nickname Tony Siegels, all that. I hope that takes off. But just he has been so awesome and a quintessential vibes guy. And like, let's get this ship going in the right direction.
And we finally have a confident second baseman that you can look at and go, all right, like I feel good about him at second base. It feels like it's been like, a decade. They're like back to like Pedroia, right? Seriously. Maybe Marwin Gonzalez, if we want to bring up a name like that.
Marwin.
But either way,
new time in 18.
Exactly. Eduardo Nunez. Yeah, we don't win without him. But again, going back to what you're saying, it almost seems like, yes, Chad Tracy, interim head coach, almost seems like the rest of the Red Sox are playing as if they are an interim head coach, right? The kind of mentality of like, all right, like we don't really have like too much to lose. The expectations are already the floor. Let's just go out there and play ball. And Siegler, after the last game of the Mets series, too, going into the All-Star break, I believe
that interview was awesome. That interview was awesome.
Great interview, great answers. And he was just saying, he's like, we had so much fight in us and we're finally clicking. It's a bummer the All-Star game and the All-Star break happened when it did. It's like, of course, right when the Sox get hot, you don't play for a week.
That's exactly what happens every year.
It does.
They get hot right before the All-Star break.
I was going to say, look at last year. And obviously last year coming out of the break, they lost 2 out of 3 at Wrigley. They lost 2 out of 3 at the Phillies. Then they took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers at Fenway. They were able to then right the ship after what was that, a 4-6 stretch in their first 10. They were able to right the ship after that before Anthony got hurt at the beginning of September. So hopefully this year they can weather the storm a bit better than 4-6. And I didn't really think that the stretch of 4-6 last year was that bad given the teams that you faced. And obviously this year, in these 10 games, you're facing 3 division opponents, the Rays, the Orioles, and the Blue Jays. All at Fenway where you haven't played well. This 9-game winning streak was 3 consecutive sweeps on the road. It's like they still got to figure out and find a way, and obviously it got better with that Yankee sweep, but then they laid an egg against Washington after winning the first game. So it's like find a way in this 10-game homestand to play well at Fenway and make Fenway intimidating again.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's kind of scary going into Fenway because how well they play on the road. They have a 600 winning percentage on the road.
Yes,
they have a 600 winning percentage on the road. They're one of the worst road home teams of all time. It's really crazy because historically the Red Sox always play well at Fenway Park. They're always built to win at Fenway Park. This team isn't. Hopefully they go get a bat or two. I don't know how they're going to completely tackle this deadline, but you have to show you can win at home if you want this team to be invested in. If you go out there and you get swept by the Rays or you only win one, you have a doubleheader on tomorrow. You got to go out there and at least win 1 or 2 of these games and show this team is worth investing in because I desperately want to invest in this team.
Yeah.
I'm just not a completely 100% sold yet, but I think this team has enough to go out there and show they can be invested in.
Absolutely. Well, okay. So here's the thing with that. I think that's where a lot of the credit goes to Tracy because after that Nats series, everyone could have just packed it in and said, "Yep, we're done. See you." Like we're going to Cancun. Not literally, but like we're going to pack it in for these next few months and that's it. But Tracy, and credit to the guys in the clubhouse, but Tracy kept that thing going in the right direction. It's like, we're going to play inspired baseball. We're going to keep going out there, taking care of what we can get taken care of. And, I think a lot of this right now is that, yeah, they were the worst team in baseball for 3 months. And, the eyesight, the eye test was really bad, but there were guys that were performing well that maybe it wasn't in line with how bad the team was performing. And maybe it's the law of averages coming together. They still have to go out there and prove it these next 14 games before the deadline. Because after that 10-game homestand, you travel to Sacramento to face the Athletics, and then you go to LA to play the Dodgers. So it's like, if you go out there and you go 4-10, yeah, you're not buying. But if you go 10-4, absolutely you are. So by no means has this team picked its path yet. And I think the worst thing that could happen is like they go 6-8 or 7-7. They go like some middle of the pack where they don't really know. And then it's kind of like every deadline that it's been since 2021, a half buy, a half sell. It's like either hit the ground running and take off, or plummet back to where you were, because you need to pick a path. It's not going forward for the future of the organization. It is not worth it to half buy, half sell. And you could even argue it's probably not worth it to go all in and buy, unless you're getting, I know everyone wanted to talk about Jordan and Bobby Witt on Twitter and whatnot back in May. And it's like, but unless you're buying for like a superstar that you're going to have for the next several years, it's probably not worth it to buy. And I'd still argue it could very well still be worth selling Chapman and getting that return, because as great as Chapman has been, and it's not that I don't want him here, the future of the organization, the Red Sox are not that far away from like getting back to being a legit World Series contender. And what you get back for Chapman could really help accelerate that. That's the point that I'm making.
And the back end of the bullpen, you have so many other options you can just throw in
Whitlock,
as a closer for the end of the season. Exactly. Even
primarily
Guerrero, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Guerrero, yeah. Or Guerrero could be a trade piece, too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Whitlock, I kind of want to bring up his comments he brought up a few days ago. It might have been almost a week or two now, but he said the Red Sox have dug themselves out of the hole. They got themselves basically back to 500. James, this is something you've said when they won 9 straight. It's absolutely incredible that they won 9 straight and they're still under
They're
9.
Still not under 500.
They're under 500.
You think about all the work that they did, and the win streak has been impressive. And it's like, yeah, you're still not at 500 yet.
You're still 2 games under. But you have to look at this after the All-Star break as a whole new season. Basically, tomorrow is opening day. If you have a chance to get back to 500 by the end of tomorrow, and you need to take off. If you take off, you take this second half as a whole new season. This could be a whole new Red Sox team going forward. We still don't have positive updates about the 2 big pieces that we've missed almost all season, and Roman Anthony and Garrett Crochet. But honestly, there's talk on Red Sox Twitter of adding these big names, these big contracts. I don't know if I want to mess up this group, how well they're playing 9 straight. Like you brought up Anthony Siegler. Like right now, he's the leader of this team. Like, I don't think I want to bring in more personalities in here until the Red Sox kind of come down from this high that they're on right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the difference, everyone's comparing this year to the winning streaks going into the break this year, last year. And obviously 23 and 24, they were great going into the break as well, 8-2 and 7-3. But last year, they were 3 games under 500. They started this winning streak. They finished 7 games above 500 going into the break, and then they really just took off from there. But it's like that got them to the point where they needed to get above 500. This got them out of the hole, and they're not at 500 yet. And they're only at look, if they did this and the American League was having a normal year, like take last year, for example, they'd still be 4 or 5 games out of a playoff spot. Like that's, I think, the other thing you have to take into consideration. It's like, where does this team actually lie? We'll see in the next 2 weeks, And I think going to your point, Nick, about not wanting to mess up the chemistry of this team, obviously Contreras is going to be back tomorrow evening. The first game is the 5th game of his suspension. And also, that suspension worked out perfectly. He was going to miss the games with a bruised foot anyway. Still got to do the Derby, which he was awesome in. Got to play in the All-Star game with his brother in the opposite end, and just misses the first game of a doubleheader, so it rests him anyway. Like, Wilson won the week. But it's like when Story comes back, it's like, do you want to add Story back to the mix? Like they're playing so well right now. It's like that's just a guy that, and obviously love Trev, but it's like you don't want to mess up the vibes that are going on right now, because for the first time all year they have some sort of positive vibes going.
I'm going to say Trevor Story has played his last game as a Boston Red Sox. That's what I think right now. There's talks about Francisco Lindor, obviously, and if that's going to happen, he has to be included in something like that. But I don't think you need to bring him back. I don't. Obviously, Chang and Monasterio are playing above their means, and they're not guys that are going to be long-term pieces on this team. But if you think you could bring Trevor Story back on this team and the way he was playing when he got hurt, like there's no reason to even consider bringing him back. I think he has no point, no reason to bring back right now. I know he's kind of closer than all the other hurt guys and Roman and Crochet. Like, I think we're probably going to get an update pretty soon about Story and his rehab assignment. I know he was a little bit of above schedule, but I don't want to see him at all. I have no interest in seeing him at all. Like, I don't know how you guys feel, but would you want him back at shortstop right now? Like, I don't think so.
No.
I'm more interested in seeing when Meyer comes back and what they do with him when he returns.
He's my answer as shortstop. I know people tell us that he's one of the worst hitters against right-handed pitching in the game, or against lefties. My bad. But there's no way that you can convince me that Story is the answer. And the sooner he gets back, the sooner this team can have a star at shortstop. We saw what he was in the beginning of the season. We saw the errors. We saw the at bats, and then we looked at him every single day in the lineup, and we're like, that is a giant effing hole right there. And right now the offense is clicking, like we were saying too. I just don't rush this back. I know Story wants to be back on the field, but no part of me wants to see him back here.
I'd rather have IKF back than Trevor Story.
Sure.
And I don't think Trevor Story is like a cancer in the clubhouse. I just
no, not at all.
They play better without him. They really do. They had this season. And you brought up Marcelo Meyer. As soon as he went down, they took off. Like, if you really want to make a connection, like, I don't know if I want him back either.
He went on the IL, the Friday morning of that Yankee series?
Yes. Right before that, yeah. I think it was game 2 of the Yankee series, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd want him back as well. So, and I'm not contributing to losing to Marcelo Meyer and Trevor Story, but this is the team that's working. Go with it until it doesn't work. That's my take on it right now.
Sure. Yeah, if you can get Crochet back in the mix too, that even more so.
I have different takes on Crochet and Roman Anthony because I think they're superstars. But you're not bringing back a Trevor Story to hit 210 just because,
Right.
There's no reason to do that.
That being said, those people that are on Red Sox Twitter and whatnot saying we should trade Trevor Story, what team's going to take him? What value is there?
Nobody's taking him. I know Nick floated him to the Mets for Lindor is just offsetting salaries. Nobody's taking Story.
I think that's the only way I'd want Lindor back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sure. But why would the Mets want Story?
Correct.
I do think the Mets would pay down a lot of that. So we'll get into it pretty soon.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it yet, but I have a graphic made for Lindor. I think it's been a huge topic on Twitter. I think Coley Mick was the first one to float it, and it's been talked about ever since. But I just don't think that's the kind of guy that's even going to get traded this trade deadline. I think it's too much money, too much of an unknown. There's talk about him being a clubhouse cancer. There's other people arguing that he's one of the nicest guys in baseball. I just don't want to bring in a guy like that right now. I would love to bring in a superstar, and I still think Lindor is a superstar, at least for the next year or two. But I just don't think that's the kind of guy the Red Sox should bring in. We'll get into it later, but I do want to get into the biggest disappointments of the first half. I think we'll all have pretty similar disappointments. I think there's 3 guys, 2 injuries, and then 1 guy that's been our left fielder every single day. But I kind of want to talk about Roman Anthony because this is a guy that we thought was going to be like a top 15 to 10 MVP candidate in the AL, and he's really been a non-factor this season. So I hope he comes back. I really don't know if he is going to come back at all. If he does, it'll be like late August, maybe September, because we still don't have a timetable. But if you guys want to give your thoughts on him, it really sucks that he's not here, but we kind of need him. We need a guy like him at least to take over that left field role.
Yeah, go.
I was going to say, it might be the All-Star break, take a couple of days just to get the mind off baseball for a second. But sitting here talking about this, it just amazes me that Roman Anthony has not played a game since
May 4th.
Early May, right? 30 games this season. This is the second year now where he's lost the majority of the season so far to an injury. Where does this end? Right? Where does this end? Instead, someone that I will bring up in our kind of next segment of like a highlight, Cedar Rafael has been doing kind of what we've been hoping Roman Anthony was going to do this year in some ways at the plate, right? So, what a huge disappointment. Part of it too being the lack of information around the injury too, and we keep harping on it. And short-term IL, and it's just his finger or whatever, and we haven't seen him since May, or the first week of May, right? It's a huge disappointment. I don't know.
I think it does help him that Connor Griffin. Obviously it was a tendon for Griffin compared to a ligament for Anthony. Yeah. He's going to miss 8 to 10 weeks. I think that helps with the timeline. But overall, Anthony's numbers this season, obviously, not only fans, but the Red Sox expected him to carry this lineup and then some, be a top 10 MVP guy at worst. He's hitting 229 with 1 homer, which came in the ninth inning of a 4-1 loss in Game 6 of the season at Houston. That was it. That home run was on April 1st. 5 RBIs, 12 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, 354 on base percentage. He's slugging 321, a 675 OPS. And, he had shown spurts of getting out of it with better contact, especially in that Astros series right before the Tiger series where he got hurt. But, I don't think this winning streak is an indictment on him or Marcelo. That's just me. I know a lot of people will think that it is an indictment on the young guys. I don't think it's an indictment, but Anthony definitely been a disappointment this year and a guy that I had, extremely high hopes for. We all had extremely high hopes for. He to me is still not the biggest disappointment. He's definitely up there. We'll get into the guy who I think next, but just touching on Anthony, definitely been one of the 2 or 3 biggest disappointments on the team this year. Just with what they needed him to do, but I also think the Red Sox probably expected too much. Like, yeah, I think he's still going to be a stud. I think he's still going to be fine, but it's like, even if he is that top 10 MVP guy, you still need to supplement it with more bats, even besides Contreras. So I think as a 21-year-old, putting that pressure on him was a lot, but, he obviously did not have a good first 30 games at all, and the durability is a huge question as well.
We're having a totally different conversation if he's healthy and he's just underperforming. But the fact that he hasn't seen the field since May 4th, that's.
Well, I think that also goes back to like how forthright are the Red Sox being about the injury, because he went on Bradfo's podcast, the end of May when the Red Sox were, we're talking about the time frame. He's like, guys, I can't grip a bat. I'm not playing.
Right.
He, this is him kind of. I think he wants to be out there and playing. I don't think he can right now. Like, I don't think this is a pain tolerance thing, and I think that's where the Red Sox need to get their everything straight with every player and like stop with the BS on the timelines. Let's be frank and real with ourselves. If it takes an extra 24 hours to state the right timeline, that's okay.
But you even brought up too with Connor Griffin with his tendon too. They gave an immediate time on 8 to 10 weeks, right?
Did,
and yes, that blows to not see Connor Griffin for that long, but at least there's a time frame, 8 to 10 weeks, and he's back, right? Or give or take some.
Sure, and they 60-day IL'd him right away. So it's like
they told us Roman Anthony would be a 2 to 3 day, like, we're not going to put him on the IL.
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys think they basically banished him to Florida? I wish they didn't tell us that, because now it gets me thinking that he's a problem in the clubhouse. No, I don't want to put that out there, but that's what people are talking about.
People are going to put that out there because they want to say, oh, we saw him drinking, we picked up his tab, all this made up stuff, whatever. I truly, it was about limiting and avoiding distractions. Get him out, get your treatment whenever you want to get it. So you're not sharing a training table with 8 other guys who need it. Go back to your home state, get out of the limelight, do what you need to do, and then get back up here and play. That's the way I took it.
He was traveling with the team to away games like this entire season. Why? I mean, yes, to be worked on, but you have staff here that can also help him instead.
Yeah, I wish they didn't put it out there. I wish they just sent him to Florida, didn't tell anybody where he was, because it's not like he's present in the dugout. They're not showing him in the dugout
that often. Taking a picture with him at an Italian restaurant.
Most likely, and he would have been over Twitter. There'd have been fake tweets about him paying for tabs
I'm so sick
or whatever.
Of it, dude. But the guy's 21. He's gonna go out to eat. He's gonna go out to a bar. Focus on baseball. I don't think anyone's not saying that, but it's also
I do think it also, right here, Pedroia helped lead us to a World Series playing through a torn UCL in his hand. Anthony soft. That's what people are talking about. They're calling him soft. They're saying that he just wants to be in Boston, to go out and drink, to go out to the North End. That's what people were saying. I wish they just didn't say anything about him going to Florida. It seems like they banished him. That's what it seems like. And maybe just my mind, but other people's minds as well.
Do you think the limelight is on him more because if you look at the other young guys too, Marcelo's always injured, always seems to be injured. And then also
they paid Roman, so he's rich now.
Right.
So it's like
even like Casas too. And we've done the show too. Casas seems like every time he stubs his toe, he's like re-injured and it starts all over again. Right. It's like, because of all these young injuries, paid or not, it's like I feel like there's more light on Anthony not returning.
Well, I've also written Casas off of never playing for the Red Sox again, so I'm okay with him being gone. Fair. Like Roman Anthony's a guy you paid, you invested a lot of time and money into.
They put on him going into the year what they needed him
exactly.
To do.
This was an MVP candidate.
Yeah, I think the thing with the difference between Pedroia and 13 playing the whole season with a torn UCL versus Anthony right now, I don't think, and I know I said this a few minutes ago, I don't think we can get into the is Anthony soft debate. That's completely different. I think he wants to be out there playing then, and I don't think it's a pain tolerance thing. I think the question then comes into, well, right now, can he play at 60%, but he doesn't feel like he's helping the team at 60% compared to when he's, 90% or greater. Like, that's a completely different conversation. I don't think he's at the point to where even he can suit up and like grip a bat and play, which is why he's still getting training. I think there's a difference there between what percent is he at versus being able to play at all. I think he wants to play. I don't think he physically feels like he can right now.
So
that's just,
I think of him at 60% is better than our biggest disappointment. I think this is what you're alluding to, James. Our biggest disappointment was our left fielder, Jarren Duran.
But he might not feel that way, and maybe that's where the disconnect is between he and the team. I don't know. But yes, the biggest disappointment this year is Jarren Duran. I'm sure. I don't know if you guys take Anthony. I love Jarren, but he has been the biggest disappointment on this team.
I mean, I think Jarren Duran is a guy that we all thought was going to be traded coming into this season, even maybe 2 years ago as well.
Anthony has a higher B-WAR than Duran.
So does like IKF and
Duran,
so do I.
13 homers, 10 of them came in May. He's hitting 194, 45 RBIs, 14 stolen bases, a 259 on base, 350 slug, makes out for a 609 OPS.
So
a 72 OPS plus.
There's a lot of things you could say about how bad Jarren Duran's season has been, but if you compare his defensive metrics to last year compared to this year he's been incredible out there in left field. You could also say he's on pace for a 2020 season. He's also batting under 200. You just mentioned his on-base percentage, how bad it is. He's had a horrible season, but I don't think he's a useless player out there either. He's a guy.
He's been the biggest disappointment for like what they needed him to be, and not trading him for like a Paredes and all. And I know Durbin has turned it on the last month, but like not trading him for Paredes or someone else that could have helped the team in a different way this offseason. I think that's where the disappointment factor, at least for me, comes in too, because that's how he could have helped the team as well. And that's not on Duran. That's a complete Breslow front office. They completely botched that. So I'm not blaming Jarren for that at all. I'm just saying like, that whole situation, I think, feeds into everything as well. It's like they could have gotten appropriate value for him. They held him to his 2024 standard. More teams held him to his 2025 standard. I think there could have been a meeting of the minds and meeting in the middle, and teams would have figured that out. The Red Sox clearly didn't, and now what's his value? The perfect time to trade him was last offseason, and it would have gotten rid of the outfield logjam, and it would have cleared a spot for Anthony, Rafaela, Abreu, and then Yoshida to just go DH, and clearly that didn't work out, and the rest has been history, unfortunately.
Especially when we're talking about like Roman Anthony, how the segue into this conversation, but it's like, yeah, if we had a Roman Anthony, we had the solution right there, right?
Yeah.
And losing Anthony and having Duran suck, that is just two birds, one stone in terms of pain.
Correct.
Yeah, it sucks that he sucked out there, but I love watching that outfield defense. You can't take him out, honestly. Yep. Actually, we haven't talked about this guy. Jahmai Jones, the Red Sox just traded for a player to be named later. I assume he'll be the Jarren Duran platoon against lefties. I don't think we'll see Jarren Duran face any lefties, at least going forward the next few weeks, unless he gets incredibly hot.
Let's tap into that pop that he had last year.
Let's talk about Jahmai Jones. He's been horrible this season, but I do think there's some upside there against lefties. He used to rake, at least in 2024. And even early in 2025 was very good against lefties. So maybe that's a guy that can hit again. Also, I don't have the exact stats, but I saw his stats at Fenway Park. It's a very small sample size. Yeah. I think it was 8 games, but he was batting over 500. He was slugging at an insane level. So maybe that's a guy that absolutely sees the ball well at Fenway Park. They could tap into something there and get a few good weeks out of him until Roman Anthony comes back. But, I'm not like super overwhelmed by a Jahmai Jones waiver. He was DFA'd basically, right? Was that what he was? So it's nothing special, but maybe it's a guy that they could tap into his power and he can spell Jarren Duran for a little bit going forward.
Yeah, and he's hopefully going to be better than what Eaton has given you this year. And obviously, I think we all like Nate Eaton, but he's going through it right now. So hopefully just change that up and try to find their version of what Ref Snyder was last year for them.
Yeah. I guess the last biggest disappointment would be Garrett Crochet. It's another injury. Even when he was out there on the mound, he had 1 or 2 good starts and everything else was a little bit very underwhelming, actually. But Garrett Crochet was a guy that we all probably picked to win a Cy Young, if not win top 5, top 3 in Cy Young in the American League. Obviously, it hasn't been as bad because of how good the Red Sox pitching staff has been. Jake Bennett's picked up the slack. Ranger Suarez has been phenomenal. Sonny Gray's better than we all ever imagined. Like, the pitching staff has picked up where Garrett Crochet should have been carrying, but obviously we miss Garrett Crochet. if we want this team to make the playoffs, you want Garrett Crochet going game one, no matter what. He has the best stuff. He has the potential to strike out 13, 15
he's
guys.
The war pick for a reason. We saw it in the Bronx last year.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Garrett Crochet, we miss him. It sucks. I don't think we have a timetable for him. He's one setback away from missing the entire season. If he has one more setback, I don't want to see him anymore. I don't want to risk his future, but that's a guy that I want back as well. So what are your thoughts on him? I know it's probably just injury related. I do think when he comes back, he's going to be dominant again, but when is he going to be healthy? Is he going to miss this whole year or is he not?
I don't think we see Roman or Crochet back this season at all. It pains me to say that.
I think we see Roman because let's say they do stumble coming out of the break and they sell. I don't think that Roman or the organization is going to want his last baseball to be in May of 2026. He has not played a lot of baseball at the major league level. They're still going to want him to get his feet under him, especially with the lockout looming, whether they miss no time next year, a month, half a season, whatever it is. They're going to want him to get his baseball legs and those live reps under him, even if they're out of it in September. So I think they're going to try to get Roman back, even if it does end up being a lost season. And if it ends up being a playoff push, obviously you try to push him back. Crochet, I think the jury is still out. We'll wait to see when he starts throwing.
I'm with Nick though. It's like we can wake up tomorrow and see that Crochet stubbed his toe and now he's out for the entire season. He's one setback away, and a minor setback at that too.
Yeah.
And to your point with Roman too, we have zero update as to any kind of plan or expected time back for Roman too. I don't see him coming back this year. And yes, if he is healthy, obviously he's going to play regardless of where the Sox sit in the standings.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you, James. I think Roman has a better chance of coming back this year, but actually right now I'm trying to put like a percentage on it. I think there's a less than 50% chance that we see any of them. Like that's how I'm kind of thinking right now. Do you want to go into like your biggest surprises from the season?
Can I say one thing about a disappointment? This is someone who I know.
Carlos Narvaez?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. He by far has been their best offensive catcher, and he's been great defensively. But from what he was last year offensively to what he's been this year has just been a total 180. Last year he was obviously tremendous offensively. I think he was hitting like 270 at the break, and obviously tailed off in the second half, but overall in the season, still ended up hitting 241 with a 726 OPS, 27 doubles, 15 long balls, 50 RBIs. Obviously was dealing with the knee injury in the second half, but this season, unfortunately, offensively, has just been the complete opposite. He is hitting 188 right now, 257 OBP, a 524 OPS, only 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. It started in the second half last year and he was hurt, but this year it has just been a continuation of that second half and to a much worse extent. And he is not the biggest disappointment by far. We talked about Duran, Anthony Crochet. Obviously you can add Trevor Story to that as well. So he's further down the list, but still been a tough half for him. Hopefully he can rebound in the second half.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't put him in like my 3 biggest disappointments is
I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying he's kind of skating.
I expected the rushing out of him. He wasn't ever this good in the minor leagues.
Not to this extent, though.
Obviously
he's
not.
Been horrible offensively. Yeah.
I just expected the regression out of him. I still think he's a better suited as a guy that only catches 70, 75 games, and you get a starting catcher over him. It just sucks the Red Sox don't have the catching depth that they can afford to put him as the backup catcher going forward. Yeah. But yes, I totally agree with you.
And no to people complaining about the depth, the Crochet trade would not have gotten done without including Teal. So we all wanted to keep Teal, myself included, but it wasn't going to get done, and Crochet was worth it. So that's that.
But also too, Narvi's defensive stats this year too are like right in line with what they have been. And again, I've said in the past, and I'll say it again too, catchers are the one position where you can kind of sacrifice that offensive output for a plus.
It just can't be this. It can't be this bad. It can't, unless you're Maldonado for those Astros World Series teams where he was hitting ninth on a juggernaut offensive team, and then he would come through with an occasional bomb, and he was so comfortable with all the pitchers, or Sandy Leon. Think about somebody like that. So
right. And again, like I'm always reminding myself too, Mickey Gasper was taking reps over Narvaez behind the dish. It's so funny.
If you really want to be positive about a catcher, it's Connor Wong compared to his last year. Like Connor Wong was the black hole last year when he came up every single time. He was an auto out. He has a 122 OPS plus this year. He has nowhere near enough at bats to qualify for any kind of stats, but he's had a very good offensive season. an okay defensive season, not great, but this is a guy that I kind of think is going to get more at bats going forward until at least he regresses. I do think he will regress, obviously. He's not that great of a hitter, but the one thing about Chad Tracy is he's a lot less stubborn than Alex Cora ever was. He'll probably go out there. He'll give the other guys a chance. He'll play the hotter hand. He's not going to. I remember Kike Hernandez playing shortstop just to stick it to the guy like Bloom. He just kept running Kike out shortstop, running him out there, when he made error after error after error. And that was just to stick it behind Bloom. So I think Chad Tracy's a lot less stubborn. He'll play the hotter hand. And I do think we'll see a lot more Connor Wong going forward. I do think, like you said, catcher is the one position that you could sacrifice the offense for the defense. And I totally agree with that as well.
Over the last month, it's only 35 at bats, but he's hitting 314. Like Connor Wong is doing his job when he's getting it, when he's getting opportunities. So hats off to him. He's obviously worked very hard. Last season, I think, was an outlier for how poor his performance was. 24, I think, was an outlier on the other end. Probably lies somewhere in the middle, and I'm glad to see the work is paying off for him this year when he gets in there.
And he was dealing with that injury too, with his hand last year too.
Yeah, they were trying to move him to different positions. I feel like,
Right.
no, obviously not off catcher, but it's like in 20 at the end of 24, a little bit
24,
left, a little bit second, a little bit of first, whatever. Nick, were you trying to get into biggest surprises next or biggest, positive?
Let's do surprises or positives. I guess you want to start. I have a few. It's like Jake Bennett.
I mean, look, overall, the biggest success, Wilson Contreras.
Obviously.
Sure. Yes, obviously.
Yes.
Honestly, this might, not trying to use the same word, this might surprise some people just because of the way things started. I would say the biggest surprise has been Caleb Durbin, without a doubt. He has been so tremendous the last month. Great MG swing. Thank you for saving Caleb Durbin. So he's been awesome, though. Overall, like, he started the season so poorly. He's up to 228, 686 OPS,
home runs,
9 home runs, 10 stolen bases. Is he as good as that over 162? Maybe not. Is he as bad as he started? No. But it's like, I'm not looking at the overall, those numbers. If you just look at the back of the baseball card, don't look good. But if you come from where he was the first 2 months to what he's been and the trajectory he's on, he's found himself. He even said he's got his confidence back. He's got his swag back. This is the player he was with the Brewers last year. Biggest surprise because the last month, in large part because of him, this team has gone 16-5 over their last 21. Hats off to Caleb Durbin. Biggest surprise of the first half. Let's keep it going in the second half.
So
and great defense from him too. I want to call it
all season, not just this last month.
Opening day, absolutely,
all season.
So I kind of want to talk about this. We were talking about giving grades. What would you grade a Caleb Durbin full season so far?
B.
I know he was an F, and then he might have been to like a B and A.
B-.
I would probably give him a C.
B-.
Just for the full season of work, but he completely was like the worst player in baseball.
That's why I would give it. So that's why I would raise it so high to a B-.
Yeah,
I say B-, C+, same area. Yeah.
So I would probably give him a C+ ish area. Like if you give Jarren Duran an F, I don't know if I give him an F. I might give him like an F+ because the home runs are still up there. The stolen bases are fine. The defense has been great, but Caleb Durbin is probably in the middle because he went from the worst player in baseball to a stretch where he was one of the better players in baseball. But like you guys brought up, the defensive consistency he's brought has completely helped this pitching staff. I know he made an error in that Met series, whatever, I don't care. But his defense has kept him afloat in that C to B area. So you guys are right. He's been a great surprise, at least over the last month and a half. But yeah, I guess the other ones were like Ranger Suarez has really lived up to his deal. If you really want to break down all the moves that Breslow has made, like Wilson Contreras,
look at this comment right here.
Yeah,
all 3 pieces of the Milwaukee trade looking like competent MLB players is nice.
At least in this winning streak as well. Like Anthony Siegler has been a huge part of the winning streak, like we brought up as well. Monasterio had a home run and a triple in that Mets series. He played well in that Mets series. And then obviously Caleb Durbin has completely turned his season around. And it's looking even better now that Kyle Harrison has gotten hurt and his last few starts haven't been great.
He has not been that great either. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you really, like, we were calling for Breslow to be fired, you could talk about that. He's completely flipped the script in the last 3 or 4 weeks here. All of his pieces have turned around the season. I don't know. I still don't think he's done an amazing job because I think he just didn't do enough. He put too much on Anthony. He put too much on these young guys, Marcelo Meyer getting big reps every single day. I don't know. you can have your takes on Breslow. I still don't think he's great, but I think he deserves a one more year now going forward. I don't think I want him fired yet.
We'll see how the next 2 weeks go.
The trade deadline
the jury is very much still out.
Yep.
Yeah, obviously his trade deadline last year was horrible. The one before that wasn't great either. But, if he goes out there and he gets a good piece at the deadline, I might start thinking that he's okay going forward.
See how the next 2 weeks go.
Yeah, exactly.
Suarez has been awesome, though, to your point.
Suarez and Wilson Contreras have been amazing.
It was a panic move to see Bregman go to the Cubbies, but, it's worked out, made the All-Star team. Obviously, the injuries have been tough, but he's been awesome.
I also want to call out too, Cedon. So you guys just mentioned additions too. Cedon Rafaela has been, I think, overall. I mean, yes, we know defensively he's been a stud, but offensively it is coming together. And if he continues at this pace too, again, he's been 281, 8 homers, 39 RBIs, 761 OPS in 90 games.
And an All-Star.
And an All-Star, rightfully deserved too.
Yeah, definitely deserved.
If that offensive production can meet that, can come along with his defensive production, that makes for one of the best center fielders in all of baseball. I don't care what team or what, who you root for. That is an equation for just a great player overall.
Yeah, I totally agree. Cedon Rafaela is getting better and better, especially offensively. This is a guy that I think is going to make 5 to 10 All-Star games in his career.
Yep.
He's definitely been the best extension that Craig Breslow's made. We've been talking about those for a really long time, but yeah, that's been a very good extension. He's going to provide so much value in that contract. But I think the next topic we should talk about is the Red Sox completely flipped the script in the season. Let's just hypothetically say the Red Sox are heading into the All-Star break, the trade deadline. Yeah. Let's say the Red Sox are heading into the trade deadline, a half game out of a playoff spot. What would you want this team to do? What do you want Craig Breslow to do? Do you want him to still sell? If he does sell, what players do you want him to sell? And what type of player would you want him to add if you still want him to add? I think, like you brought up earlier, Chapman's still a sell, but I don't think I would sell anybody else. I think you keep Sonny Gray. Wilson Contreras has recently come out and said he's not being traded no matter what, even if the Red Sox want to trade him. He has a full no-trade clause. So I don't think that was even a talking point going forward the next few weeks, honestly. I think that ship has sailed, but I think you trade Chapman, you hang on to everybody else, and maybe you look for a right-handed bat that can fill in that DH role, maybe play a little bit of left field if Jahmai Jones sucks. But I don't think you add a ton. We'll get into Francisco Lindor and maybe a superstar player later. But realistically, what would you guys do if they head into the deadline only a half game out?
Sell Chapman. Sell Gray. Don't set this organization back further just to make the playoffs for, at best, an ALDS appearance.
And don't trade them for more rentals. Not that you would, but I use that word rentals.
No rentals. Right. You're trading for someone, they have to be controllable. Zero rentals.
So I mean rentals in this specific conversation more than just, a year or two, right? Rentals is usually for rest of the season.
To me, a rental is a 2-month player, basically. 2.5 months.
So that's what I'm trying to clarify. When I say rentals, I mean not only for 1 or 2 years, right? If you're going to trade these guys, I want to trade for an actual future, right? I'm still.
Hey, look! If you listen to Play Tessie yesterday, they said who says no to Devers coming back?
I'm still in the boat, the sell boat. I definitely am, but not as aggressively as we were before, right? Yes, can they make the playoffs? 100%. But I just don't think that we currently this roster can go punch for punch with the National League.
This is not
also with
this is not Will or I being Debbie Downers or wanting the Red Sox to do bad. I want the Red Sox to do well. I want them to make I want them to win. I want them to make the playoffs. You also think about big picture and what's best for the organization. What will help them win a World Series sooner? Getting the returns for Chapman and or Gray, or half buying, half selling, and then being middle of the pack the next 3 years? Because it's you can turn this thing around pretty quickly if you get a top 100 guy back for Chapman and 2, maybe 3 top 30 guys in an organization for Gray. Chapman is the bigger one, but I'm just talking about other guys in general. It's this is what smart organizations do, and this is how you flip the script fast.
Exactly.
So my thing.
But guess what? Here's the thing. Whatever they do, pick a path and go for it. If you're gonna buy, actually go all in and buy. Don't go half one, half the other. There's no more half-assing it. Go all in and buy. Go down the path of selling, and that's it. There's no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're standing on the beach with 1 foot in the ocean. Oh, the water's cold while the other foot's sitting there on the sand. It's You have to pick a path, have decisiveness, Craig Breslow, and go for it. Whatever one you do, and put your name and reputation behind it and stand behind it.
So we were talking about rentals, and I said usually a rental to me is a guy that's only going to be on your team for 2 months, 2.5 months. But even if you're talking about
Lucas Sims,
yes, so if you're even talking about a guy that has a year and a half of control, that could be considered a rental, depending on what you think about next season. Because there's a chance that you miss
today.
Yes.
Let's see how true that holds, but the schedule did come
yes,
out
exactly what I was saying. There's a chance that this team next year you miss 2 or 3 months or even a whole season. I doubt you miss the whole season, obviously, but I think there's a very good chance you miss games. So even if you go out there and you add a guy and it's a guy that's good for this year and good for 2027, that might be considered a rental. I guess the next question would be, which prospects are off limits for you? I don't like saying untouchables at all. Right now, the only untouchable to me is like Roman Anthony, but I don't think I would trade Arias for anybody that's not going to be on this team for 3 seasons right now. Like, it has to be a superstar and a guy that's here under contract for 3 seasons, because right now, 2 seasons, 1.5 seasons might be a wash. You know what I'm trying to say? So yeah. I think Arias is an untouchable. I obviously would include him for a guy like we were talking in the group chat, like a CJ Abrams. I don't think that's even on the table at all. But if it became a possibility, that's a guy I'm moving for. But are there any untouchables for you if you want to go out there and add a piece?
Anthony Ianson.
That could be out there as well. The reason why I don't put him the same as like an Arias is we have the pitching depth. Like Jake Bennett has emerged.
You're not just trading Ianson for a Joe Schmo. Like, no, if you're trading Ianson, it has to like that. That's where I'm like, it becomes untouchable. Like, in theory, to me, nobody is untouchable for the right price. But I'm also just not dangling, everyone in any sort of deal. That's kind of the way I'm taking it. So no untouchables. But you're not just dangling it for any sort of deal. Like, the price has to be 100% black and white. Like, it's either you're getting this caliber prospect for this caliber major league player, or you're not.
Especially too, like the last year or two, obviously Tolle and Early and Bennett and all these other pitchers that come up. Our farm system can develop pitchers. It's like the White Sox and the Rays, right? Like, maybe not that level with their output, but so far it's like I don't want to touch any of our pitchers.
Ask Bayo how that's going.
Well, by the way, Bayo gets sent back to triple.
Bayo was awesome on Sunday. Bayo was awesome on Sunday.
He was
awesome.
Yeah. He was awesome. But again, Nick, to answer your question, I don't want to see any farm pitchers moved whatsoever. Like, collectively, just untouchable in my book.
Yeah, I mean,
I would dangle Kyson Witherspoon. I probably would.
He hasn't had as good of a year, so it's
obviously, but yeah. I still think his upside's pretty high.
I think this is more of an off-season conversation, because that's where more of the bigger trades get done. In the off-season, I would dangle anyone, because that's when you can really build for 27, 28, and beyond. It's like right now, unless it's a Scooble type, you're probably like, I'd be fine with trading the pitching because A, they have the depth, B, if those prospects are just lottery tickets. So I'm going to trade anyone if that's going to help the team with an impact bat or whatever. That's not some sort of rental. That's kind of
Would you trade Marcelo Meyer? Because I definitely would. I don't know. I think its value has dropped, obviously, but
you'd have to wait till the offseason.
I think I would dangle him in a trade.
It depends on the return. Yeah.
You'd have to wait. No, but I think you'd have to wait till the offseason. I don't think anyone with his injury right now is taking him.
And you're probably right.
Too, yeah.
But I'd be okay with trading him in the right package as well.
Sure. I'd be fine with it. I'm not giving up on him yet. And Jordan Walker winning the home run derby, I've compared him to Christian Campbell numerous times because of the swing mechanics, the stance, the movement with the swing, the hard contact. Jordan Walker struggled for 3 years, and with that, similar profile to Campbell, obviously a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. I'm not giving up on Campbell, and I'm not saying Meyer is Walker, but in that same boat, I'm not giving up on Meyer because of one down 2026.
Yeah, I think if you look at the profiles, though, Jordan Walker is a lot closer to like an Aaron Judge profile than Marcelo Meyer ever was.
No, that was more of a Campbell thing than
anything.
And that was a good interview that he had. I don't recall who it was with. I think it was with Jake Iggy.
Campbell, it was Jake Iggy.
If I'm not mistaken. Very good job. Give that a listen. But yeah, some good insight from Campbell, essentially into Tracy and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I guess anyone is on the table because it's like prospects are just lottery tickets. If you're going to do it, you have to do it right.
Yeah, I guess the big trade talk in Red Sox Twitter is
Lindor.
Francisco Lindor.
All right. I'll get into his
I
contract.
can't get into it. I don't have a real take on it either. I've been trying to form one.
It's like when
It's
Felger
just,
said we were getting
depends what you
Trout
give
back.
up.
Hold on. So Lindor's, before I get into
Go ahead. If you want to read the
Lindor's contract, he's under contract from 2027 to 2031. After this, payroll is 32.47 million. The luxury tax hit is 34.1 million. He's an unrestricted free agent after 2031, so that's through his age 37 season. He is a 10-5 guy, so he can veto any trade. He got those rights, I think, last year. With that 5th year with the Mets. Ultimately, it's gonna depend on price. With Lindor, you'd be getting a guy who's a proven leader, a proven veteran, a guy who has been part of successful teams both with Cleveland and with the Mets. Obviously not as successful with the Mets, but he's been a great player throughout his career. 56 career WAR, a 272 career hitter. 284 career home runs. A guy who'd be providing some pop at shortstop. You'd be a switch hitter. Obviously, he's been hurt this year. He's only played in 40 games. The savant page is still solid. 5 homers, 12 RBIs. The Mets are a dumpster fire right now. Would I want them to trade for Lindor at that contract? To me, it's tough because it's like it all depends on what you're giving up. And, with the lockout looming, what else could you work on with a bigger trade that's not just Lindor for a guy in his ages 33 through 37 seasons? I'd probably say no because of the age. Let the Mets keep, not that it's a bad contract, but just let the Mets keep that. If you're going to trade and take on a big contract, get someone younger in here or just go out and pay him. Obviously Devers was of that mold, but that's a different question or a different debate. But ultimately, I'd say go get somebody younger if you're going to commit that money to.
Here's a few more things on Lindor. He's finished top 10 in the MVP voting in the National League his last 4 seasons.
Yeah.
He's finished top 10.
He's been
awesome. He's definitely still a superstar. Obviously, this year he hasn't been as great. The Mets came out today. The Mets came out today and they gave their list of untouchables. It was Carson Bench. It was Juan Soto. It was Christian Scott. A couple other guys, but Francisco Lindor was not included in those untouchables for the Mets. So obviously he's okay out there. There's talks that he's not a great guy in the clubhouse. There's also talks that he's a great leader in the clubhouse.
I think that's more of a him versus Soto butting heads. Like there's never an issue in Cleveland, and no.
So
he's probably not perfect, but it's like I don't know.
Here's my take on Lindor. I think the Mets would pay down the contract to get a decent prospect return for him. So if the Mets paid a ton of this contract and it was just prospects you traded, I'd be okay. But if the Red Sox are going to take on the Francisco Lindor contract and it's going to hinder them from going out and signing a younger, maybe even better free agent, I don't want it. So there's only 2 ways I would take back Lindor. It's if the Mets pay most of that contract and we pay all prospects, or a swap with Trevor Story or a Yoshida or even a Brian Bayo in that trade, so they take some of our bad contracts back.
But
I don't think it's even a big I don't think it's going to be a fit.
Why would the Mets trade him to pay the contract down? Isn't that their whole point of trading him, is to get off the money?
I think it's to get rid of Lindor and Soto's bullshit, honestly. I think they just want...
Lindor is still a good player, and I know taking the contract ages 33 through 37 is a different discussion, but it's not like they're trying to go out there and trade Story with 5 years left on his contract. Like, Lindor is still a very, very good player. So it's like, I don't know. I think the whole thing is a Lindor versus Soto thing. It's unfortunate for them that it hasn't worked out, obviously. Like, the two of them, obviously 2 of the better players of the generation, especially Soto. It's just, I don't know. If the Red Sox were to commit this money and actually show willingness to do it, why didn't you do it for, Bregman or whoever else, a year younger, whatever not, but also like go do it for a younger player. I know next couple free agent classes aren't great, but it's like, if you're going to show willingness to do this now, why didn't you do it the last couple of years?
And we're already on we see the end of the tunnel with the Trevor Story contract and with another old shortstop, right? Old. with also an entire past his prime, right? And yes, Lindor is definitely not past his prime, but his prime years are here, right? If there is a lockout next year,
the end of his prime.
It's the end of his prime, right? And there's a lockout next year. Who knows how much time we lose on that? There's a good chance that he comes back and he's out of his prime, right? And then we're stuck with this contract and $34 million on the books. No part of this is something that I want any part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the biggest topic on Red Sox Twitter
Sure.
right now, and I thought we had to talk about it for a little bit. If you put together a package, this is probably what I think. It's just like Francisco Lindor for Trevor Story, and then you add in. I'm assuming they want pitching prospects for how bad their pitching depth is. So maybe they want like an Ianson, maybe they want a Witherspoon. I don't know. Like you said, I don't think I'd give up Ianson in that deal ever. But if they took back Trevor Story, I might give him a Witherspoon if they took all of Story's contract. I don't know. But I just don't think I want to bring him into this clubhouse right now. That's kind of my biggest thing. It's not that I don't like Lindor, the player, or the Lindor, the contract. I don't think it's a horrible contract, just like I don't think Devers was a horrible contract. It's just I don't think you want to bring in another attitude problem into the Red Sox clubhouse after you traded Devers because of his attitude.
I don't think he's an attitude issue. I think it's him. I think that's a him versus Soto thing. Like
I agree. I do agree. But there's definitely talks that he has a bad attitude.
I think that's him versus Soto because there's never a bad word out of him in Cleveland. Until Soto got there, it was all great in New York. And even like last year, there wasn't a ton of stuff. 24, they went to
Jeff
the LCS.
McNeil had an issue with them. That's one. I mean, I'm not going to take Jeff McNeil's word over Francisco Lindor, honestly. But Jeff McNeil and Juan Soto are the two guys that had an issue with him. I think Jason Kipnis had an issue with him as well. But that's Jason Kipnis. He has an issue with everybody. So I don't know. I mean, it's a weird thing. I don't think he will be moved. If he does get moved, where else would he go? Like the Dodgers might be able to take on that contract if they really wanted to, but I don't think they would. The Braves need a shortstop, but I don't think they would ever trade him to the Braves either.
I don't think he's going anywhere. Like
you're
really
probably right.
Yeah,
it might be an off-season thing, but I do think he won't be on the Mets forever.
We'll see.
But yeah, it might be an off-season thing. Do you guys have any other final takes on anything? What would be an ideal deadline for you? Because I think it would be trade Chapman and then flip those prospects for a right-handed bat that is under control.
Deadline's on August 3rd. Ask me on August 2nd. I just got to see their record. Like, yes, still trade Chapman, but it's like, let me see their record. Like, if they go 13-1 before the deadline, maybe don't trade Chapman.
Well, if they go 13-1, I want to invest in this team more. If they go 6-7 or 6-8, then you're probably 1 or 2 games out of a playoff spot, and then maybe you're in that sell area. If they go 9-4 or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see in a few weeks.
Even talking on was it Monday or whenever this Rays series is over? It's a 4-game series. So Sunday night, Monday. Talk to me after the Rays series, right? To me, that's going to be an immediate, really short-term teller. How is this team going to do out of the gates against a division-leading team, right? A playoff caliber team right now. Talk to me after that. I can tell you more about what I expect at the trade deadline.
Yeah. Also, a comment here, maybe hot take. I'd rather have Fernando Tatis over Lindor. I don't think that's
I would.
I don't think that's a hot take either. Would you put Tatis back at shortstop though? That's probably the take. The question.
I'd put him wherever he wants to play. If he wants to play shortstop, great.
Yeah, I agree with him there. Definitely, I would rather have Tatis. He's younger. The contract's very similar. But yes, I'd rather have Tatis over Lindor. I just don't think you could deal with Preller. I don't think he sells him.
Sure.
I honestly, I guess my final take here or final thought was they have an announcement for game 1 of the Rays series. We don't have a starter for game 2. Will it be Brian Bayo after his?
It's Seymour versus Bennett in game 1.
Yeah, my question would be: is it Brian Bayo in game 2, or do you think they go bullpen opener and then Bayo? I think Brian Bayo will be part of it.
I think Bayo. Yes. I think opener then Bayo.
Sure,
I agree.
They also get an extra man for the doubleheader tomorrow, so we'll see what they do there. Ultimately, I think they split this weekend series, and the Rays always play really well against them. Obviously,
I honestly would be happy with 2-2 against the Rays.
Correct.
Split all day.
Even though it's at Fenway, getting out of this with a split would be huge. You're avoiding Rasmussen, you're avoiding Martinez, so it's Jack Seymour who pitched well against them, and then obviously McClanahan, who's been excellent, this season in coming back from injury. So. We'll see. I think if they can get out of here with a split, it would be great momentum with Baltimore coming to town Monday to Wednesday.
Yeah, I totally agree. Take 2 from the Rays and then take care of business against the Orioles, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, if they don't win at home, this team's not going to go anywhere. But that's really it for me. Will, do you have anything else you want to end it on?
Nope, 2-2 against the Rays or better. Let's see it again. If we were playing at Tropicana, I would hope for like 3-1. But since we're playing at Fenway, we had to hope for the 2-2 series split, right? But excited.
Oh, I got a final thought. We're finally going to see the red jerseys at home. One of those games tomorrow. I bet it's going to be the first game. We're going to see the Reds at home, followed by the City Connect green. Finally.
I hope so.
All season for this.
I have. I've waited all season for this.
So, there's a chance they wear the whites, but I do think it might be the Reds.
Dude, they can't ruin this for me. Wear the Reds at home. You are the Red Sox. You used to wear them every Friday at home. Tomorrow's a Friday. You can still wear the City Connects at night. Please wear the Reds tomorrow at 1:35.
I'm going to laugh so hard when they try on the whites.
The last time they did that was July 1st, 25 in the doubleheader against Cincinnati.
Yeah, I still don't know what they're going to wear. I wish they announced it, honestly, a little bit ahead of time, especially for these doubleheaders. We know Friday nights are going to be green. We know the Saturdays are going to be yellow. Sunday is going to be white. But
give me the
I wish they gave us a little bit of a heads up.
Red jerseys at home, please, Red Sox. Red Sox social media admin, if you're seeing this, please pass this along to somebody, the equipment manager. I don't know who, Chad Tracy. Give me the red jerseys at home tomorrow. Please.
You know who I think it's up to? That starting pitcher.
No, it used to be, but then and I know Core's not there anymore, but they actually have like a schedule now with City Connects every Friday. So tomorrow they'll just wear either the whites or the reds. So it could be the whites. Please wear the reds. Please wear the reds. Of course, if this doubleheader was on a Tuesday, they would, because they'd wear the whites and the reds. Of course, wearing the greens tomorrow throws a wrinkle into game one.
Well, if you look at the Red Sox uniform tracker that I put out every single day, I think they're 500 in the reds and they're 9-21 or 9-22 in the whites. So statistically, they do a lot better in the reds than they do in the whites. So I want the reds as well. Guys, I don't have anything else as well, but yeah, I think it was a good show tonight. We talked about a lot. We hope the Red Sox keep winning. The trade deadline will be fun. We still have about 2 weeks until then. But yeah, we'll end it here, but we'll be back soon. And thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later.
Go Sox, baby.
Peace.